Hey babies, welcome back to another Modern League video, and today we're playing some Grixis Affinity, which comes to us from the top 4 of a Japanese tournament. It's pretty much the same shell as a normal Affinity deck, but instead of some of the flex slots, we're playing 4 Expressive Iteration for extra draw effects, and we're playing 2 Obnixilis, which we can use in conjunction with either Urza's Saga Constructs or Cranial Plating to play one that ultimates immediately. The mana base has changed significantly. We're playing 4 copies of Spire of Industry, which I'm not sure how I feel about. We're playing a couple extra tapped lands, and we're only playing 1 Darksteel Citadel. And then the sideboard is pretty different too. We're playing 3 copies of Suspend, which is pretty spicy. I think it's an interesting, like, pseudo removal for blue. And we're playing 3 copies of Stubborn Denial instead of any Metallic Rebukes. We also have some Nile Spellbomb since we're playing black, and we're playing a Soul Guide Lantern. I'm not really sure why we're playing Soul Guide Lantern over just a Relic or another Nile Spellbomb, because we don't really care about our graveyard at all. But let's get into the league. Alright, round 1 with Grixis Affinity. We won the die roll. This hand seems reasonable. We will keep. Our opponent is not playing a companion. Let's see if they mulligan. Get this box a little bit smaller. Alright, opponent kept 7. So let's go Spire of Industry, Springleaf Drum. Pass the turn. I understand that's necessary for fixing, but I'm not... Okay, it looks like we're playing against Living End. I'm not a giant fan of Spire of Industry and Affinity. Especially since we're not Living End. Playing against a food deck. That's a welcome surprise, because this hand would not have been good against Living End. Let's see. We draw Expressive Iteration, so we're going to go Silver Bluff Bridge. We can't quite play Frogmite, so we're just going to play Springleaf Drum Go. And then it looks like next turn we're going to get to do a bunch of stuff. Opponent plays Urza's Saga, which that was us. Underworld Cookbook. Makes sense. Plays another one. So it looks like we're going to go Cranial Plating, Frogmite, and then some stuff maybe. We draw Mistvault Bridge. That's interesting. I'd like to play Urza's Saga if I can this turn, but I don't have one yet. So I go Cranial Plating, I have 4 artifacts. Frogmite, I have 5. I can't quite play Monitor, so I do need to play Mistvault Bridge here. Now I can go Frogmite, Cranial Plating, Thought Monitor. Or Cranial Plating, Frogmite, Thought Monitor. The order doesn't really matter. Is there a way that I go Expressive Iteration and Thought Monitor this turn is what I'm wondering. I can play Frogmite. I suppose it's better to do that before they get the opportunity to gun it down with Asmore. So let's go Cranial Plating first, and then Frogmite, and then Thought Monitor. And Expressive Iteration is just going to be for next turn. We drew Thoughtcast, that's nice. Get through some more cards that way at least. Okay. I'm going to leave, I think, Ornithopter in hand. What are the ups and downs of that? They can... Actually, they can gun down 2 creatures, so I think I'd like to play Ornithopter so I can at least get in with one thing next turn. They don't have the creature that comes back when an artifact enters yet, so they're not just getting free value with these Asmore, or rather Cookbook activations at least. They're going to be able to get a moderately large construct or dose, depending on if they activate Asmore first. Alright, we drew Sojourner's Companion. Let's start with Expressive Iteration. Might as well use this for blue. Cranial Plating, Thoughtcast, Mirror Enforcer. Interesting. I think I definitely want Thoughtcast. And I guess I don't really need Cranial Plating yet. Because the issue is they have a bunch of instant speed removal. So I think I'd rather have the creature, actually. So let's Put that in hand, put Thoughtcast into exile. Wait, what? Oh shit, I did that in the wrong order. Hilarious. Okay. So we get Cranial Plating in exile. I am going to play that this turn. So let's go Cranial Plating like so. Equip up you. Well, I guess I need to play my creatures first, right? I should have read Expressive Iteration better. I thought it was exile and then put into hand. Oh well. So let's see. Double Cranial Plating is still not a terrible place to be in, I suppose. So it shouldn't matter all that much. Okay. Do I want to make them use the food? I think I'd rather just play the artifact here, because I'm not going to get in with Frogmite anyway. We will pass. Alright, now all of our creatures are very, very lethal because of the double cranial plating. They found an Oval Chase Daredevil, that's very annoying. Wish this deck had main deck relics a little bit. Let's see what they get with Saga. They probably have Needle in their deck. So not getting that Thoughtcast is probably going to mess us up. They fail to find... What? Did they only have the cookbooks? So they drew all 4 of the cookbooks. Huh. It's a little bizarre. So let's see, they can remove 2 creatures. We'll take the 7. They can make it more if they want to, which I assume they will. So where it's 10. Okie dokie. Silver Bluff Bridge. Okay. So let's cranial plating on... what? Is there a way that I can win this turn? How many artifacts do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Possibly 12. They have 2 removal activations. I'd like to create a scenario where they use their removal on our creatures on the ground and then we get to kill them with Ornithopter. And to be able to do that, what do we need? Or I guess it doesn't matter as much if they have to block, does it? We need to leave back at least 1 creature so we can activate Springleaf Drum. So what do? We attack here, here, here. We... Maybe just moving 1 cranial plating is enough. Because we're going to get in with either 1 creature on the ground or they're going to have to block. That there. Okay, so if I put... I don't think I can win this turn, but I can at least make their board less threatening. Possibly by trading for everything. I can put a cranial plating on Ornithopter. That way they're going to have to remove the Ornithopter, and that shrinks their constructs. Is it better to play Silver Bluff Bridge or Island? I think Silver Bluff Bridge is what I'm leaning towards. Definitely attacking here. I think I want to leave back a Mirror Enforcer to block with. Although that means that Asmore can trade for it. Let's do like this, because then we can pressure them into blocking with Asmore. And we have 2 cranial plating activations, so both of these need to be blocked, along with the Ornithopter getting removed. That's fine. Okay. They're still going to have enough power in play to kill us. Because we... Cranial plating here, it trades for this shrinks, and then they make a bunch of more blockers, or they make a bunch of more artifacts, and this grows, so we're going to concede. Unfortunate. Alright, what do we want to bring in against food? I'm not going to lie, it's been a while since I've even thought about Golgari food. Let's bring in Pithing Needle. Let's bring in some amount of Graveyard Disruption, I think. And Curse Totem is basically just a Pithing Needle, but it still might be kind of sweet. But I think Graveyard Disruption is the main thing I want. Let's cut down on these since they're a little bit on the awkward side, and they also kind of occupy the same place that the flex spots do in mono blue. I think I'm going to keep in the Obnixilis in all of these matchups, just because I really want to see that work. I think Curse Totem is worth it just because Asmore is such a pain in the ass. We can cut down on these. It's probably a bit deep to bring in the 3rd interaction piece for the graveyard here, so let's do it like that. Might have turned out a little bit better if I had read Expressive Iteration correctly, but I don't think it would have changed all that much. This hand seems fine. We have Urza's Saga. We have not a very explosive hand, but we have some 2-for-1s. I'm probably going to use this Sojourner's Companion to get our 3rd land. We'll keep. See if our opponent mulligans at all. Expressive Iteration, I am not completely... Like, I understand that it's a good card in general, but I'm not really sold on it in Affinity. Although I appreciate the sort of meme aspect in this build of the deck where you can just go through so many cards so quickly between all of the Thoughtcast effects, the set of Expressive Iterations, and then the Obnixilis copies that... Yeah, there's an Obnixilis, sweet. The Obnixilis copies that threaten to draw you 7 cards in one go. Alright, so it looks like we have a decently grindy hand now, which is pretty much what we want against them. They play their own Urza's Saga, okay. Time of Need, search for a legendary creature card. Okay, that's pretty spicy. We're going to use Sojourner's Companion, get our Darksteel Citadel. We draw Mistfault Bridge, okie dokie. Play Darksteel Citadel, pass the turn. So we're going to get our constructs, probably play Mistfault Bridge as our land for turn next turn. Probably not getting Springleaf Drum and instead getting something to disrupt our opponent with. Likely Pithing Needle on Asmore, I would say. But we'll see. Is it better to Pithing Needle Asmore or Underworld Cookbook? I guess Cookbook is better, right? Especially since we have Curse Totem also, so we might wind up in a scenario where Asmore and Cookbook are needled, or at least effectively needled. Yeah, I think that's correct. We name Cookbook instead. Unless they already have 2 food in play, in which case I will absolutely just go for Asmore. Okay, they only have the 1 Cookbook. They could easily have a Beseiju and use it since they have Asmore already, but I think they would have Beseiju'd Saga. We draw another Thought Monitor, not bad. Alright. Let's get Pithing Needle. Underworld Cookbook. Mistfault Bridge. Frogmite. Sojourner's Companion. Combat for 8. It looks like next turn what we might be able to do is Alpha Strike at our opponent. They'll survive by a little bit likely, and then we can play Obnixilis with Casualty and ult it targeting them so they lose 7 life. I think that's going to be the plan for this one. It is just also sort of a giant burn spell if you use it like that. And that's pretty fun. Is it possible to get the alternate art version of Obnixilis on Moto? Because I like that alt art quite a lot. It looks very cool in it. Opponent plays Oval Chase Daredevil the old-fashioned way, which is interesting. I don't know why they wouldn't have just made a construct with Urza Saga in that scenario, but oh well. Alright, let's go to combat. Probably going to chump block both the constructs, I assume, since they're basically swinging lethal. And then we get to surprise them with our spicy Obnixilis play. Haha, haha. Alright, red, black, 1, sacrifice a construct. Play an Obnixilis, haha, haha. Ult it targeting you. Yeah, Obnixilis. Not quite as funny as when you draw 7 cards yourself and then play a bunch of free spells because you're an affinity deck, but still very fun and satisfying to do. Alright, do we want to change anything? I don't really. I'm pretty satisfied with how that went. So let's keep it like that. They are going to be on the play, so we'll need to have a decently fast or relatively quick disruption sort of deal. Thoughtcast and Sojourner's Companion and 4 lands. There's just not enough action in this hand, so I'm going to mulligan. Double Urza's Saga, Cranial Plating, Frogmite. Alright. I mean, that's definitely action. I think I'll keep it. And I'm not sure, I think I'm either going to get rid of Cranial Plating or a Spire of Industry. I think Cranial Plating is probably safer, because we're already planning on using a lot of our mana for Urza Sagas, and this means that we don't need to use an Urza Saga to get fixing for Obnixilis if we draw it. So let's do it like that. We're still keeping a 4-land hand, but double Urza Saga doesn't feel nearly as bad as 4 regular lands. Kind of plays Verdant Catacombs, fetches, gets Overgrown Tomb, shocks it in. Plays a Thoughtseize. Can't get my Urza Sagas. So they take Cranial Plating, leave us with Frogmite. We're going to play Silver Bluff Bridge, go. We drew Thoughtcast, so that's nice. Another 2 for 1 effect at least. They play their own Urza Saga. If they have a Pithing Needle now, we're going to feel sad. There's a decent chance that they brought them in, but we'll have to see, I guess. Opponent plays Asmore. They got their Asmore Cookbook online very quickly, and they're going to have a second Cookbook now too, which does kind of suck for us. And they already have Oval Chase Daredevil too. So let's play Saga, play Springleaf Drum, pass the turn, hope for the best. Our opponent's got a lot of what they want online already. I'm curious if they have Needle in their deck. I mean, I feel like they've got to since they're playing a Saga package, at least in the sideboard, right? So they should have at least brought one in. Opponent hits us for 3, we untap, our Saga triggers. We will cast an Ornithopter. 1, 2, 3. Play enters a Saga. We will... What? I could just play Frogmite out. I think that's probably right. Not playing it for free into Thoughtcast because I don't want to give them the option to use another piece of removal instead of their food to deal with our construct immediately. And we don't have a spell to cast next turn anyway, so we might as well keep up some mana and Thoughtcast with it. Alright, opponent gets some food. We're going to respond to their Saga trigger by activating our Saga in case they get a Needle. Which hopefully they don't get, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes to us. This is a matchup where in mono blue you actually bring in Hurkyl's Recall, because they rely so much on building up a board of artifact tokens that it just feels like a mass destruction effect instead of just bouncing. So it becomes much better. Alright, we make our construct. What do they get? I could see them getting another Cookbook. I could also see them getting Shadow Spear possibly, but I think Needle's the correct thing if they have it. They get Shadow Spear. Okay. I'm not as against that. Especially since they don't have the mana to activate Shadow Spear this turn. And there's a decent chance we can get a larger board than they do by that time. We're going to take 6. Probably 7. Well, they don't even activate the Cookbook. Okay. So they don't buff it up. Can we do this to where we activate both of the Sagas? I think we can, because we can activate this Saga to make a construct, tap, 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 tapping Ornithopter, probably, maybe Frogmite. Then we get... Well, we don't want to get Springleaf Drum is the issue. We would have to get Springleaf Drum to do that. So we're just going to tap this one for mana, I think. Yeah. Tap you for mana. They create a food. Okay. Double Chase Daredevil triggers. Okay. Are they going to activate Asmore before we get our Needle? It looks like they won't. That's pretty sweet. So Needle. Hopefully they don't have removal for it. God, that's a lot of letters. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that before, but Asmore's full name has a lot of letters. Alright. Let's lead on Thought Monitor. We draw 2 cards. We draw Thoughtcasts. Okay. Let's play a Thoughtcast. Draw 2 more cards. Play Spire of Industry. Since we have floating mana, we need to activate this now. And we'll just pass. So we can chump block something, and we can possibly double block to kill a construct. And we'll just have to see if they have artifact removal for Pithing Needle, because that's the main thing that can make a difference here. They do have a full hand. We only know about Oval Chase Daredevil. Opponent taps 2 mana, activates Shadow Spear. Does not attack, so they don't have removal. That's pretty good news. Okay. Let's make another construct. Search. Do we just get our own Shadow Spear here? Or do we want an Ether Spellbomb to bounce a construct? Ether Spellbomb to bounce a construct is not a bad plan. Because that means they have to use 2 mana to re-equip Shadow Spear also. On the other hand, we play Shadow Spear, we can start crashing in and forcing them to block. I'm actually not sure what the right plan is here. I'm leaning towards Ether Spellbomb, I think. Because I can Ether Spellbomb, attack with both of these, and then depending on how they block, because they're going to have to block, I can Ether Spellbomb something. If I don't do that, I can Ether Spellbomb pre-combat. These would be attacking for 9 or 10, depending on if I play Mistvault Bridge. I get rid of the one with lifelink. They have to block with Asmore. Yeah, that seems like a good deal too, actually. So yeah, we get Ether Spellbomb here because we are suddenly on the offensive. We're going to pop Ether Spellbomb, bounce you. We can 1, 2, 3, 4. They have to block at least one of these if we attack with 2 of them. If we attack with these as well, we're not quite to where they have to attack with everything, but I don't think I'm going to use the life to Thoughtcast here anyway. Actually, maybe I will. Depending on if I get a couple free spells here. Okay, we didn't. That's fine. Attack like so. They need to block at least one construct, so either Asmore or their other construct is going to die, and we're happy with either of those scenarios happening. They choose their construct dying. That's fine. Opponent's at 4. We're threatening lethal for next turn. And we got it. Sweet. Very, very cool. We got to see at least one ultimate so far with Obnix, so hopefully we'll see more of those, and I'll see you in the next game. Okay, round 2 with Grixis Affinity. This hand is probably a little bit too unreliable. I can play turn 1 Urza's Saga. I don't have any more lands. I can eventually get a Springleaf Drum and hope for the best, but I don't think that's really worth it, so let's mulligan. Alright, Spire of Industry, a Mirror Enforcer that's really hard to cast, and then an Expressive Iteration that might show us things we want, and an Obnix, which is the main reason we're playing this, so I guess we'll keep it. Get rid of the Mirror Enforcer. Why won't Wizards just give us a Spire of Industry that's also an artifact? I don't understand. Untapped colored artifact lands. Come on, WotC. Give them back to us. We draw Thoughtcast. Okay, we have a lot of card draw in this hand, at least. Let's play Spire, go. We're going to plan on using Memnite to Expressive Iteration next turn, I think. Depending on what we draw. Our opponent just played Snow-Covered Plains Go, so really they could be playing most white decks, I suppose. Although it looks more like Hammer than anything because they aren't playing a companion. Urza's Saga. Looks even more like Hammer now. Stoneforge Mystic. And Colossus Hammer. Hooray, I was right. We draw another Spire of Industry, not very exciting. Play Memnite, play Expressive Iteration. Maybe we'll hit a free spell off of it, we'll see. We did hit a free spell. Okay, card into hand. We already have an Obnix, so let's get Urza's Saga. Card on the bottom, Obnix. Exile Memnite. Hooray, free Memnite. Pass the turn. So next turn, we can either go Frogmite or Urza Saga Frogmite, or we can go Thoughtcast or Obnix. I'm not really sure what's correct. Opponent plays Pure Steel Paladin, plays a Colossus Hammer. So they're going to have 2 hammers because of Urza's Saga, but they don't have enough artifacts quite yet to equip for free. Okay, now they do with Ornithopter. That's obnoxious. We draw our own Ornithopter, which means we get to go Ornithopter, Urza's Saga, Frogmite, Thoughtcast, maybe see something good. We saw Springleaf Drum. Okay, that's something at least. And we have an expressive iteration for the future. We'll see how we have to block here. I'm sort of unsure of how the correct way to sideboard against Hammer is with this deck. Needle's still good for sure. But in testing, like I played Stubbs against Hammer, and it was nice when you could actually counter the Hammer, but they can get around it pretty easily with like Urza Saga and Stoneforge Mystic. Opponent gets to draw a card. I'm going to go ahead and F6. And Suspend is definitely fine, because it'll at least delay them by a couple turns, which sometimes is all you need. But I definitely don't like missing Hurkyl's Recall here. Opponent plays Shadow Spear, Colossus Hammer, and I think we're just dead. Okay, that's 22. We're at 17. We block 4. And they also attack with Pure Steel. Yeah, we're just dead. Okay. Well, that was fast. It wasn't that fast, I guess. It was turn 4. That's relatively slow for a good hammer draw, but fast enough that I'm disappointed about it. All right. So I'm definitely bringing in Needle. And I'm definitely bringing in Suspends. I think I bring in Stubbs, because Hammer is just so impactful if it hits the board too early that we need to plan around that. I'm keeping in the Obnixiluses for the same reason as before, and I think I'm going to shave mostly on expressive iterations here. And then a couple Thoughtcasts, and, well, 1 Thoughtcast and a pair of Mirror Enforcers, because 4/4s are just not particularly large against things with +10/+10. Obnix is kind of nice because it can make blockers for us, which is great if they don't have Trample quite yet, but we'll see. Not having Hurkyl's Recall makes a huge difference for the Affinity versus Hammer matchup, in my experience. And I guess it's fair, you don't see Hammer as much as you did when Luris was around, but it's still a present deck, so it's worth paying attention to. I'm going to get rid of the sideboard pop-up. And yes, we'll take the play. This hand's a little bit on the slow side, but I think it's fine. We have Urza's Saga, so we can make some threats, and we have some extra draws with Thoughtcasts. One other thing about the mana base of this deck is, because we're playing a couple extra Mistvault bridges, it's harder to actually have Urza's Saga start working the turn that you want it to. So I definitely keep this deck in, like, in my mind, this deck is definitely in the realm of like a meme deck, rather than something to take extremely seriously. But it is very fun still. I'm gonna play Springleaf Drum, Ornithopter, I wish that was me. Esper Sentinel, okay. We draw an Ornithopter. So we can go Ornithopter, Ornithopter, Silverbluff Bridge, Frogmite, and they'll get to draw a card, but we might as well Thoughtcast here anyway. We draw another Ornithopter, might as well play that. We draw Pithing Needle, that could be really good against their Inkmoth Nexus hand, as long as we're not dead here somehow. Which I think they need at least 3 mana and the Inkmoth Nexus to go and kill us immediately. But we can pay 2 mana for Esper Sentinel, play... They get Nettle Cyst instead of Hammer, that's interesting. Do they not have an equip yet? Steel Shaper's Gift. Now they get a Hammer, okay. That was weird. Little on the weird side. If they have Pure Steel Paladin as their equip ability, I will have wished that I needled Hammer. But I think it's safer to go with the Needle here. Let's go Urza Saga. We drew a basic island, which is nice. That means we'll have some extra untapped mana next turn. And I think I'm going to leave back Frogmite this turn so they can't get free attacks in. Because if I attack with Frogmite, they likely just let it through, go down to 18. I mean, there's a decent chance we draw more free stuff with Thoughtcast, so I might as well attack for 2. I am trying to kill him, I guess. Alright, let's go Pithing Needle. Yes, I will pay for it. Naming Inkmoth Nexus, because I very much don't want to die to Surprise Infect. Now we can cast Thoughtcast, and hey, we found a free spell, just like I wanted. Alright, so next turn we can start making constructs, and hopefully they don't have exactly what they need here. But we'll see. We did let them have that free draw. Plays Pure Steel Paladin. Alright, so Needle on Hammer would have been good. There's a decent chance they also just happen to have Sigardizade in their hand. How big are our constructs right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's not the worst. I figure I should Chump Block this Ornithopter to make it a bit harder for them to lethal us immediately. Because them getting Trample could become an issue. Springleaf Drum, okie dokie. They have 3 cards in hand. We draw Spire of Industry, so we're going to play Silverbluff Bridge as our land for turn to increase our artifact count. We're going to... do we want to attack at all? Probably wouldn't be the worst. Yeah, let's pressure them a little bit. Attack for 4. Since they didn't re-equip after attacking. Play Bridge, pass the turn. Opponent's at 13. We might actually be able to get there. We'll see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we won't be able to kill the Ornithopter quite yet. We're going to Chump Block again, I think. Sigardizade. Okay, they did have that too. Now we definitely need to block things. Well, I guess not really still because Colossus Hammer hasn't connected yet. Opponent plays Nettle Cyst. Are they going to leave it on its own germ, or are they going to put it on something? Let's see. I suspect that they're going to put it on Esper Sentinel to make it to where we can't pay the Sentinel tax and they get free draws. Yeah. Makes sense. How many artifacts do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not that gigantic, actually. And they don't put it on there. They let it stay on the germ. Okay. They stack their triggers weird, I guess is what that means. Opponent attacks for 10. They have Sigardizade in place, so we would love to block that, because if they have another hammer, we'll just insta-die. Opponent plays an Ornithopter. Okie dokie, 1 card left in their hand. Their germ is an 8/8. They re-equip hammer, okay. And that is all they do that turn. So let's make a construct. It's an 8/8. We untap. We draw Sojourner's Companion. Not bad. Make a construct. Can we get past 11? I think we can by getting Shadow Spear here, right? We have to trust that they don't have another Colossus Hammer. But we can get it to where we get to actually attack in, and they would need to block with more than just Esper Sentinel. And that seems like a pretty good deal for us. Especially since we have more large creatures behind us as well. Alright. No second Colossus Hammer, please. Blocks with Phyrexian Germ, blocks with Esper Sentinel. Okay. Sweet, no hammer. We got rid of the Sentinel. That reduces their amount of artifacts. And we are going to slowly chip away at their board until they find another hammer and kill us. Got a lot of life now too, that's pretty nice. Opponent draws 2 cards with 2 different silent clearings. They're looking for action. They might be a little flooded out right now, actually. They equip up Colossus Hammer to their Germ. They have a 17/17. They attack in with it. I'm gonna take it, because I'm not very incentivized not to. They would need more than just one hammer to kill us right now. We take it down to 15. I assume they're going to move at least the hammer to something else. Opponent plays an Esper Sentinel. Okay. It'd be nice to have a flyer. We're going to need to draw at least one more artifact to be able to trade with Esper Sentinel here. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, they get rid of their germs, so now we're definitely not trading with Esper Sentinel. We did draw an artifact, though. So we're just terrified of them getting a Shadow Spear now. Not on that. I'm going to equip up Ornithopter because I'll get to gain a free life. And then I'll move the Shadow Spear over to probably the Construct, I assume. Yep. Do they have an equipment to flash in and make us sad? Drawing a Suspend for their Esper Sentinel would be really nice because we'd be able to get in. But we'll see. Let's move you over. Plan on chump blocking Esper Sentinel with a Frogmite, which will get us down an artifact count, unfortunately. And then they'll move over their Hammer and Nettlecyst to something else to block with. Probably to 2 different things I could see happening. I guess we'll see. Opponent moves a Hammer over to Ornithopter, okay. Moves Nettlecyst over to Ornithopter as well, okay. Moves Nettlecyst over to Stoneforge Mystic, okay. Jesus Christ. Attacks for 19 with Stoneforge. I could let them have the Construct, but then I'm not really threatening them anymore, and all it does is stop them from moving these over again, so I'm just going to chump block with a Frogmite. And we're still just hoping to find a Suspend to get rid of whatever they put their equipments on. This way, if they move both of them, it actually kills their Stoneforge too, so that's good. Opponent plays Urza's Saga. If that gets to where it can ult, we will die. Are they going to move Nettlecyst as well? That'd be great. They do. Haha. Traded a Frogmite for the Stoneforge. Pretty sweet. We draw Thought Monitor. Okay, this could show us what we want. It at least grows our construct and draws us some cards. Really wish it was possible that I could even draw Hurkyl's Recall here. I'm just going to keep complaining about that. We draw another Thought Monitor, not bad. It's more looks at least. Thought Monitor drawing more 1-mana Thought Monitors is always nice. Alright, and we kind of fizzled out there, which is only a little bit disappointing. Thought Monitor means we have more chump blockers, at least, I guess. Would I rather gain 1 life, or... I guess I don't really care that much about gaining just 1 life here, instead of just playing an artifact land tapped, so let's do that. And I'm going to move Shadow Spear to, I think, Ornithopter. Actually, no, I'm going to move it. Is it better to chump block with Ornithopter or Frogmite? Probably putting it on Frogmite is better, because it's harder to get in with Frogmite than it is with an Ornithopter if we draw Cranial Plating. And this way it's more likely to be able to actually trade for something too. We have a couple turns before they definitely have Shadow Spear. They could still just draw one, which is definitely the reality that we want to avoid if we can. Let's see what happens this turn. Looks like they're going to pressure us with their Ornithopter. Play another Urza's Saga. They don't attack. Alright. So that means what? We draw Thoughtcast. That'll let them draw another card, which could give us the suspend that we need. We can't get in for free with Thought Monitors. They're going to get Shadow Spear anyway next turn. So we're going to need to pop this Thoughtcast, I think. We can get in with the Construct and trade for at least something. Let's see what we get with Thoughtcasts. Might as well do it main phase 1. We're not going to be able to pay for the tax anyway, so they're going to get a free card, but we might get a Cranial Plating here, and that could change the game pretty significantly. Because unless they have removal, Cranial Plating should just kill them between Ornithopter, Thought Monitor, because at least one flying creature gets on. And we do just have 4 Cranial Platings. No, I will not pay 11 mana. Oh my god, we have flooded out so bad this game. Like, holy shit. Alright, how big are their constructs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to get in with my construct. I think. Because that could save me for a turn, possibly, by gaining the life. Play Mistvault Bridge, since black is a little bit better than red. We're going to attack for 17 with lifelink, which will make them at least block. I don't think I have a scenario where I can Alpha Strike to get the rest a little bit of the damage through. Let's see, they have 12 toughness here. They're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more toughness out of an Urza's Saga. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to trample through Fern enough that I can kill them at 12. So I'm going to have to settle for just trading for like an Ornithopter or the Esper Sentinel here. Attack for 17. Makes a construct. Okay. It's an 8/8. I didn't even count that one, so yeah. Definitely wouldn't have been able to trample through for enough. Blocks with Ornithopter, blocks with Esper Sentinel, blocks with the Construct. The Construct is just the largest thing, so I think that's what I need to get rid of. Even though I'd love to get rid of this Esper Sentinel. We're only going to get rid of one artifact on their side. So we would do 11 and 6 here, so that's not quite enough to kill the Construct and Esper Sentinel. So yeah, we'll settle with just the Construct. Unfortunately. Yep. And we're at 33. And we'll pass. Opponent's going to get to gain some life, which is very upsetting. I guess, what do we want even? We can't instant ult Obnix if we draw it. Cranial Plating would still be a decent draw, but it's not exactly what we need anymore. I'm gonna get Shadow Spear, yep. Man, I wish we drew slightly less than a million lands here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we've drawn 10 lands and 35 cards, which is a little over half. It's not that crazy out of proportion, I guess, since we've seen 25 cards and there's 35 left, but still, that's quite a lot of lands. A little under half of the cards we've drawn have been lands. Opponent plays a Pure Steel Paladin. Is there a chance we can win this game? Opponent's making a very big Ornithopter. I don't know why I didn't re-equip Shadow Spear. I definitely should have. I suppose I block with Frogmite so they can't move everything over that they want to. And if I had put Shadow Spear on Frogmite like I probably should have, I would be able to gain 3 life. We're down to 13. Our opponent's up at 34 now. So we're much further from them dying. Unfortunately. We've gone through our Thought casts too. There's only 2 Thought Monitors in the deck. We draw a Memnite, and that'll do it for us. So we'll concede. And I'll see you in the next match. Alright, round 3 with Grixis Affinity. We won the die roll and we will take the play. We have 3 lands, one of them is an Urza Saga. We have Expressive Iteration, Sojourner's Companion, Obnix. I mean, the Obnix are the reason we're playing this, so we'll keep it. Not the most explosive hand, but could be pretty sweet against a grindy matchup, I think. Sojourner's Companion is probably going to turn into a Darksteel Citadel here. We do need to get red fixing, so we'll see about that. We'll lead on Misfault Bridge, go. See what our opponent's playing. Opponent plays Seachrome Coast, Esper Sentinel. Is this another hammer deck? It could be... I guess it could be Affinity, because they do play Seachrome Coast also. Let's play Urza's Saga. Pass the turn. If it's Affinity, we'll definitely want to have had the first Urza's Saga, since hopefully our construct should be a little bit larger than theirs most of the time. They play Plains. They play Ingenious Smith. Looks like Affinity. Portable Hull. Oh, that's annoying. Alright, let's Artifact Land Cycle Sojourner's Companion. It's been cool to see Blue-Eyed Affinity get more popular lately. It's a very interesting take on the deck, I think. We draw Ornithopter, which is kind of nice. They won't be able to portable hold this turn, so we're going to be able to get in at least once with the construct. At least we should be able to. If they offer us a trade to where we can kill one of their creatures and then they portable hole, I think I'll take it. Just because it's still a 2-for-1 in that scenario. And I'd like to get rid of this Esper Sentinel before I let them draw extra cards, because I'm going to definitely be playing some non-creature spells soon. We just need one of these constructs to survive to where we can casualty it with Obnixilis 2. Okay, opponent goes with Nettle Cyst. Sounds good, so they're probably not attacking this turn, I assume, unless they're... Okay. I would welcome it if they did attack into our into our Urza Saga construct, but if they don't want to, that's fine. They're allowed to not do that if they don't want to. Let's make another construct. Let's get what? We have a bunch of tapped lands, so there's not much of a point in getting Springleaf Drum right now. Ether Spellbomb could give us some interaction. Shadow Spear could give us kind of a clock. I think Springleaf Drum might actually be the pick, though, because that means we could go Obnixilis and then possibly keep casting some spells. So I think I'm going to go with that. Play Silver Bluff Bridge. Do I want to attack? I mean, I might as well, right? It's just a free attack. They're probably going to portable hold the untapped one and then get in a little bit. They're giving us the germ. I welcome that. I'll go ahead and play Ornithopter to grow our construct token. Pass the turn. Unless they have 2 pieces of removal, we should be able to Obnix with Casualty 7. And then Casualty 7 also just happens to mean that we have enough artifacts in play that we can cast most of our affinity cards for free or near free. Yep, to get rid of the construct makes sense. Grow the Ingenious Smith. I feel like they're going to use the 2 extra mana to equip Nettle Cyst, but we'll see, I guess. Looks like they're going for something else, though. Thoughtcast, okay. Like, Thoughtcast rather than beating in for a decent amount is welcome. Alright, so we have a 6/6 currently. It's going to become a 7/7. We draw Memnite. So we're going to get to go extra with this Obnixilis and keep it around, actually. Do I want to pay the 1 for Esper Sentinel? I mean, I guess I kind of do. I'd like to be the one that's thoroughly ahead. I get to attack in first with the construct, so that's nice. There's a decent chance that they'll chump block again, I guess. Let's go with Misfault Bridge. Go to combat. Attack for 8. Opponent takes 8. Do I even want to Obnixilis here? I kind of want to keep the construct around. I guess if I don't Obnixilis, I'll lose the opportunity to. But there's a decent chance Expressive Iteration shows us something that we want as well. And then Obnixilis could ultimate for the win. Let's go with Expressive Iteration. I think that's the right call. We'll pay the 1. We'll still have a blue open in case we get a Thoughtcaster Thought Monitor here. We got a Thought Monitor, so we'll put... We drew Shadow... Okay, so we're going to get... Companion in our hand, Thought Monitor... Fuck! Oh my god. Okay, I can't undo that. Thank god. Whew! Alright, so control... So, for future reference, Control-Z does work with this deck. Let's cast a Thought Monitor, draw some cards, see what happens. Drew a Mirror Enforcer and a Cranial Plating. That's pretty much exactly how I wanted that Expressive Iteration to go, so I'm very happy with that. Portable Hole gets rid of our construct, but we have a cranial plating. So even if cranial plating somehow can't get in for lethal, it can at least be used to ult Obnix. It's probably better in this matchup to leave the Obnixless as a surprise, because they're probably just going to think that I'm on a weird version of the mono blue list with expressive iteration for now. And I'm not totally against that. Opponent plays a very expensive Thought Monitor for 3 mana. Basically a glorified Seasoned Pyromancer at that point. Alright, so we have cranial plating, we have blue. They don't have any mana open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're definitely playing a land for turn. You can draw a card. And we're just going to go to combat and then equip cranial plating to whatever isn't blocked. And if they have a Solitude, I will cry. But that would be really weird. Okay. Equip cranial plating. Should be lethal. Hooray! All right, and the Obnixluses are gonna be a surprise for games 2 and possibly 3, depending on how deep this goes. Again, sad that we don't have Hurkyl's Recall. There's enough people playing artifact decks these days that it would be worth it. But against Affinity, you don't really want to sideboard too heavily because you want to mostly do plan A. So I think I'm just going to cut an expressive iteration and bring in a Pithing Needle and do it like that. Removal, especially temporary removal like Suspend, isn't the best. You mostly just want to try to do your game plan as aggressively as possible against Affinity, because otherwise they will also snowball. Trying to interact too heavily before you actually do your thing can be a bit of a death knell. We'll see what they sideboard in. There's a chance that they're going to have Hurkyl's Recall, and that would blow us out pretty bad. Because Recall is definitely better against the blue Affinity variants with all the artifact lands than against blue-white Affinity. This hand is very underwhelming, so we're going to mulligan it. Our opponent is keeping their hand, unfortunately. Alright. This hand's a bit clunky. It's really hard to cast these. We have a bunch of tapped lands. I think I need to mulligan again. Alright. Springleaf Drum, Urza's Saga. Definitely keeping those. Definitely want to keep Thought Monitor. I think I want to keep at least one more land to increase my chance of being able to activate this Urza's Saga, so I'm probably keeping Spire of Industry. And then the choice is either Obnix or Cranial Plating. Cranial Plating is probably better. Although we don't really have a creature to equip it to quite yet. We get to draw 2 cards before we have our second land drop. I'm definitely keeping this. I'm getting rid of the island. I mean, I guess we're here for the Obnix, so I'm going to get rid of the Cranial Plating. Yeah, fuck it. Obnix is the reason we're playing this deck. Opponent plays Razortide Bridge, go. We draw Mimnite. Sweet. That means that if they don't Portable Hole here, we get to do a thing with Urza's Saga. They're probably playing 4 Portable Holes, so there's a decent chance they have that. But we will see. They do not play it. Springleaf Drum, they could play it. Fuck. Alright. That got much worse. Alright, so we're going to have to use this Urza Saga to get another Springleaf Drum to ramp us. We drew a Cranial Plating, so I'm glad that I kept Obnix, because 2 Cranial Platings is a bit much. They get to draw a card, that's fine. We have to progress our board state, so we'll just have to deal with it. And I think we've already kind of lost this game by that Portable Hull coming down. We had a decent shot if we were able to untap and activate Urza Saga starting on turn 2. But the double mulligan was already pretty rough. Now they have two Urza Sagas, my god. Alright. So let's... God, we drew another Cranial Plating. Tap Urza Saga for mana. They activate Urza Saga. Fucking huge already. We have to get Springleaf Drum. We can go... Memnite. Thought Monitor costs 1 million still. Shit. Play Memnite. I guess I could play Obnix, but I can only casualty 1, and it's not really worth it at this point. Especially since they're going to be able to get Trample if they want it. Let's play Cranial Plating. They're going to get at least one of these draws, so we're not going to do that. And I think I do need to pay for the other one. And we're probably just dead here, because they can probably just keep snowballing from here. They already have a very good board state. Let's see how dead we are exactly. I suspect very. Opponent activates Urza Saga. They did that a little weird, I think. They get Pithing Needle, naming Cranial Plating, I'm sure. Yep, Cranial Plating. That's another big downside of this build of the deck. Between having less artifact lands, so you'll see things like Spire of Industry, and then also having less of the 1-drops for Urza Saga to get, it's a lot harder to cast your larger affinity spells like Thought Monitor and have them be meaningful. Opponent's going to hit us for 12. We're going to untap, and we'll see if we draw anything, but we don't have Hurkyl's Recall, so I know there's not really anything that can get us out of this scenario. Hurkyl's Recall would be hilarious, though, because it would pick up everything on their board and give us a Springleaf Drum. They would keep an Urza Saga and an Ingenious Smith. Let's see, we draw... Spire... We have 4... I guess we can play a Thought Monitor. So we might as well. But we're very, very dead because that Urza Saga on their side can get... Yeah, we're dead. Their Urza Saga can just get their Trample, and then either of these constructs are lethal with Trample. Alright. So let's play again. We'll be on the play. Hopefully we'll mulligan less. Yep. Running it back the same way I sideboarded. Gotta keep both of the Obnix lists in, because it's all about the ult. Alright, we won the... Alright, we're on the play. Urza Saga comes down pretty early. This hand seems reasonable, we'll keep. We get turn 1 Silver Bluff Bridge, Memnite probably. And then turn 2 Urza Saga Cranial Plating, attack you for a little bit. Going ahead and running out the Memnites because it's more likely that we get to pressure them a little bit since we're on the play than they have removal for it. And frankly, if they have a portable hole and use it on a Memnite, I really don't care. That's just a fine thing for them to remove. Opponent draws for their turn. Hopefully we'll get to at least use a surprise Obnix this game. Opponent plays a Memnite. We untap. We draw Expressive Iteration. That'll be good for refueling later, I assume. Maybe finding us a Thought Monitor or something. Opponent trades Memnites. That's fine. We will play Urza's Saga. We will play Cranial Plating. Pass the turn. We have an untapped land for next turn, so we'll be able to start activating Urza's Saga. And then we'll see where things go from there. Opponent plays their own Urza's Saga. That is just what this mirror is all about. Opponent plays Pithing Needle on Cranial Plating or Saga. Cranial Plating, okay. I think that is less impactful than if they had Needled Saga and then played their own threats that they already had in hand or something. Do I want to attack? I guess I do. It's unlikely that they're going to block, and we have a blocker for Esper Sentinel anyway. Pass the turn. Plays a Darksteel Citadel, plays a Memnite. They actually have more artifacts than we do currently, which kind of sucks. A little bit stinky. Activate to make a construct, untap. Currently their construct would be a 6/6. We draw another Cranial Plating, which doesn't do anything and is never going to do anything because we don't have removal for Pithing Needle. We'll make a construct. Our opponent makes a construct. We will. I think I do just needle their Urza's Saga here, because their constructs are a little bit scarier than ours currently. Needle Urza's Saga. That makes our constructs 6/6s. Play Mirror Enforcer, that gets them up to 7, so they can't just trade with theirs, and we get to pressure with the construct. Opponent takes it down to 11. I assume they're going to get Shadow Spear. They might get an Ether Spell Bomb, depending on what their hand is, but they're definitely not getting a construct. And that's something, I guess. Next turn, I'm probably casting Expressive Iteration. Not sure if I'm going to pay for Esper Sentinel or not. I haven't quite decided that yet. It would make it difficult to play a Thought Monitor off of it, which is what I mostly want. So we'll see. Opponent now has the bigger creature. Do they attack in with it? Because I will block with Construct Mirror Enforcer. Okay, they have a portable hole, so that gets rid of one of our constructs. That's really bad. That's really bad. And they have a Thought Monitor too. Yeah, we're probably just dead here, realistically. We're going to take 10, because it has Trample, so there's not really a reason to block here. Our life total switch. We untap. We draw a Springleaf Draw. We're going to go ahead and run that out to grow our construct. We can't afford to pay for Esper Sentinel. We're going to go Expressive Iteration, cross our fingers. Frogmite, Expressive Iteration, Mistfall Bridge. Mistfall Bridge grows our construct again. We can play Frogmite. We can now block their construct at least. And kill it. But if they have more removal that they drew with Thought Monitor, we're just gonna die. So we'll see. Thought Cast, taking a few more looks. Memnite. Yup. Springleaf Drum. Yup. Grows their construct some more. Springleaf Drum grows their construct some more to 13. They can now kill both our construct and our Mirror Enforcer. Ingenious Smith, do they get another free artifact with that? Let's see. Darksteel Citadel, they do. Construct goes up to 14. I mean, we gotta block it. And it's gonna be icky. So we block with Mirror Enforcer, Construct Token, Memnite, and that kills everything. If we block with Frogmite, it would kill everything anyway, because they'd be able to stack it to where it dealt damage here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright, I counted correctly. And unless we just draw a bunch of Thought Monitors in a row, I don't think we can come back right now. We're taking 2 down to 7. We draw Urza's Saga. They can deal 3, 4, 5, 6, I think is all. So I guess technically we're not dead yet. Although Ingenious Smith can grow. And then we'd be in trouble again. Pass the turn. So they grow their Ingenious Smith, they put Shadow Spear on it, that hits us for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're actually just dead here, especially now that they have Teferi. So GG's to our opponent. We didn't get to see an Obnix ult that time, but hopefully we will in one of these next 2 matches again. We're going to wait for it to buffer, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 4 with Grixis Affinity. Our opponent won the die roll. We are 1-2 currently, so we could still technically get a treasure chest out of this. This hand has 2 Spire of Industry, plating, some stuff to do Obnix. I think that's fine, so we'll keep. Not one of our more powerful hands, but it definitely at least goes somewhere. And we have the Obnix list, which is the main goal, as I've stated previously. Opponent plays Windswept Heath. They're playing a Yorion deck. Plays Oath of Nissa. Looks like probably the Yorion Vivian deck, if I had to guess. We draw Expressive Iteration. Okay. I think I'm just going to pass for now. Probably just playing Cranial Plating next turn. Let's see. Opponent plays a Triome and passes. We draw Ornithopter. Yeah, let's play Cranial Plating. Sega. Opponent plays an Island. Plays. They don't play anything, they just put Yorion into their hand. Okay. They've had a relatively slow start, so that's been nice at least. We draw Thoughtcast. So I can either go Thoughtcast or Expressive Iteration this turn. I can get 4 artifacts into play, play Thoughtcast for 1, and then what? Or I can just cycle Sojourner's Companion, which isn't as powerful. 1, 2, 3. I think I like Expressive Iteration better here because I want to get a land. So let's play Ornithopter. Red, blue. So we didn't hit a land. We hit Memnite, Aether Spellbomb, Obnixilis. We already have an Obnix, so I think I'm just going to put this one to the bottom. So we're going to go Spellbomb into hand, Obnix on the bottom, exile Memnite, cast Memnite. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll just pass for now. Don't want to play out the other Memnite because I don't want to get got too bad by a Fury or something if they have one. Opponent prismatically ends Cranial Plating. A little annoying, but not the end of the world. We draw another Thought Casts. Okay. Let's play out some dorks and draw some cards. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Play another Thought Cast. We drew an island. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll play Mistvault Bridge and pass. So we're lined up to where we can actually do some stuff next turn at least. We can attack our opponent for 1. Put them down to 16. Pass the turn. See if we die somehow here. We do not. That's fantastic. We draw Cranial Plating. That's pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go Memnite. Thought Monitor. Draw some cards. Mistvault Bridge, Thought Monitor. Interesting. I can play Sojourner's Companion. I can play and equip Cranial Plating. So I think that's probably the plan. And then next turn, if they're not dead yet, we can use Obnixilis to do some stuff. I'm going to put it on Ornithopter so that I can get through with the Memnites, and then if they remove Ornithopter, that's fine. Surely they have some more removal. I'll play Solitude, getting Ornithopter, okie dokie. Blocks our Memnite, I assume, yep. That's fine. Disappointing, but fine. We're still lined up for a good Obnixilis turn. So I'm curious. As you cast the spell, you may sacrifice. Okay, so it does copy the spell. So even if they counter it, it still does something. That's pretty nice. We draw Urza's Saga. That's pretty good. So that means we can go play Aether Spellbomb, play Urza's Saga. Okay. Saga onto Ornithopter, or Cranial Plating onto Ornithopter, rather. Do I want to do that? How big is it going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could get it up to 10 if I put it on Thought Monitor, and I can get it even larger if I put it on Sojourner's Companion, but the issue is I'd have to be sacrificing more of my board presence for that. So I don't necessarily think that that's worth it. It's probably worth putting it on Thought Monitor. They're more incentivized to bolt Thought Monitor or Solitude Thought Monitor in response is the thing. We'll see if putting it on Ornithopter resolves. It does. Do I want to go to combat first? I feel like if I do, it's less likely that I actually get to do the thing, but I can reassign Cranial Plating, so Let's get in and we'll see what happens. If I have to reassign Cranial Plating, I'll just do that and then play Thought Monitor this turn. Attack, attack, attack. For a bunch. Opponent lets it through. Alright, I think we have the win with Obnix now because of that. So, red, black, sack Ornithopter, make an Obnix. Yeah. And opponent concedes, sweet. So apparently, the most useful form of Obnixless so far is just doming our opponent for 7. Which is kind of hilarious. Alright, our opponent didn't really interact at all, so that was weird. We're going to bring in Pithing Needle. We don't have Etch Champion, which is what I usually bring in, and we don't have a counterspell that hits creatures, so I'm not sure if Sub is actually worth it. I think Expressive Iteration is probably kind of fine against them. We didn't see hardly anything, so I think I'm just going to cut an Iteration and bring in Needle. Do it like that. We didn't see much in the way of like actual Vivian combo stuff, so I'm not sure that they're actually playing that, so I'm going to leave the Grafdigger's Cage for now. This hand is absolutely fine, so we will keep it. Misfault Bridge, go. So a big part of the reasoning in Mono Blue Affinity of why we play Metallic Rebuke over Stubborn Denial, which, although Stubborn Denial is good depending on the scenario, right now in the format, countering creatures is very important, be it countering Solitudes and Furies or just like hitting a Yorion with it is really good too. We draw Expressive Iteration. I'd rather just play Urza Saga this turn though. So we're going to do that and we're going to pass. And I don't really think I need to land cycle either of these Sojourner's Companions. Opponent plays Risen Reef. Okay, it doesn't look like they're playing the Vivian thing, it just looks like they're playing a Elementals build of Yorion. Do I want to land cycle a Sojourner's Companion for Darksteel Citadel? It gets my artifact count up a little bit, which makes it easier to play Frogmite. So next turn I go Spire of Industry. I have 1 artifact. Make 1 with Urza Saga, I have 2 artifacts. Then the turn after that, when I ult Urza Saga, I have 3-4 artifacts. I can play Frogmite, play Ornithopter. I'll need 1 more, but I think I still want to keep these because I'll have possibly a free mana depending on what I get. So yeah, I'll keep those in hand for now. Not worry about it. Draw Thoughtcast, that's pretty good. Let's go Spire of Industry, go. I think I'm just going to be able to beat them to death with the Urza Saga constructs this turn. Or this game, rather. Hopefully. They do still have a full hand, and they probably have more interaction than they did last game. Because last game they did not have any. Make a construct, a little bit on the small side for now. We draw a Springleaf Drum. Make another construct, goes up to 3. If they let this ult, it gets out of bolt range. They do. I think I just want to get another Springleaf Drum for now. So we're going to do that. Ornithopter. They're going to respond with a Solitude, it looks like. Makes sense. We're going to have a pretty full board either way, so as long as they don't have an Ephemerate to start getting rid of all our shit, we should be fine. Opponent Risen Reefs gets a Solitude, we play Springleaf Drum, 5 artifacts, Frogmite, 6. So I think I'd rather just do this than play the draw spells this turn. We would have been able to Thoughtcast and also play all of our 4/4s. But we'll have to settle with 12 power worth of 4/4s and a 9/9 for now, I suppose. Opponent prismatically ends our 9/9. Makes sense. Plays an Oath of Nissa. What do they see? Oath of Nissa not being able to get Ephemerate is really nice for us. Opponent finds an Omnath. Omnom is a little bit scary. Yup, gets a Risen Reef trigger, possibly triggers Omnath with it. Does not get a land. Plays a land from hand. Okay. Opponent's at 20, they have a decent board. Let's Expressive Iteration. See what we get. Urza's Saga, Mistvault Bridge. Mistvault Bridge. So we're going to put Mistvault Bridge into hand, Mistvault Bridge on the bottom, exile Urza's Saga. We're going to draw a couple of cards with Thoughtcasts. Thoughtcast Cranial Plating. Draw a couple of cards with Thoughtcast again. Expressive Iterations, Silver Bluff Bridge. Okay, Urza Saga. Go to combat. They don't have white mana up, which is nice. I'm just going to crash in with everything. There's no way they're going to block with Omnath, I can't assume, unless they have another one in hand. Opponent takes 12 down to 8. We're not really in trouble with our life total right now, and they don't know that we have a Cranial Plating in our hand. And we actually have the mana to... Well, no, we don't actually, because all of our lands in our hand are tapped. I was about to say we have enough mana to where we can activate Urza's Saga and also do Cranial Plating Equip next turn, but we do not. That would be a lie. So, I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing Cranial Plating or not next turn. We will see, depending on what our opponent does and what I feel like they have. We don't have any flyers anymore, which is a little bit troublesome. They play Wrenn and 6, get back Misty Rainforest, gain 4 life with Omnath. They crack Misty to get mana. They're probably going to play Yorion here, I assume, to get some more cards and remove something with Solitude. I'll see if Urza's Saga can... Oh, they play Obsidian Charmaw. Okay. That's going to blow up our Urza's Saga. That makes it a bit easier to choose to play Cranial Plating, I guess. We can't actually hold up the instant speed equip while attacking with everything now, because they have enough of a board. So, unfortunately, it looks like our opponent has stabilized. Opponent attacks for 3, we go down to 20, they go up to 14. That's fine. We draw a Memnite. They have 4 cards in hand. Do I Iteration or do I play Cranial Plating? I'm leaning towards Iteration. So we go down to 19, play Expressive Iteration. What do we see? I was thinking about it, they might have some kind of interaction here. Okay, we see Springleaf Drum, Thoughtcasts. So Springleaf Drum into hand, Springleaf Drum on the bottom, Thoughtcast into exile. Play a Memnite. Thoughtcast with the Memnite. Sojourner's Companion, Expressive Iteration. Okay. So let's play Springleaf Drum with Frogmite, because we're not attacking in with it. Play Sojourner's Companion. Play Mistvault Bridge. I can pressure Wrenn and 6 to where they probably need to block. So I think I'm going to do that. The Wrenn and 6 gaining them 4 life is essentially with Omnath each turn is very annoying. They play a Solitude. Okie dokie. They get 2 Risen Reef triggers, so they're going to get rid of a 4/4 and probably block in some fashion. We'll see. I'd like to get these Risen Reefs off the board if I can. I assume they're going to block with like Obsidian Charmaw and a Risen Reef. They might just let me kill Ren in 6 though. They play another Solitude, my god. All the Solitudes. 2 more Risen Reef triggers. Yep. So yeah, now I think they're just going to block this one with Obsidian Charmaw if they don't let it through. Yep. Makes sense to me. I'm glad I didn't go face at least, because them gaining that much life meant that it did not matter at all. We still have a 4/4, we don't have much of a board. Expressive Iteration might be able to find us some good stuff, I guess. And they still have a Yorion that they can play pretty easily. So we'll see if and when they do that. Opponent gets mana with Omnath. And looks like they're playing a Fury here, actually. Yep. My god. Things are bad. Basically just need a chain of thought monitors into good stuff, otherwise I am very dead. Opponent attacks in with a bunch of stuff. That's fine. Yep, I go to 18, they go to 22. The level to which Solitude prolongs a game of Magic is kind of crazy, because not only do you get to stabilize by removing one of your opponent's creatures and having some lifelink, but also if you remove a big enough creature, like against Affinity when you're hitting like something with anything from like just 4 to maybe around 10 power if it's a construct or has cranial plating on it. It always adds at least a couple turns to the game. My god, that's a lot of triggers. I'm not going to make them do that, so I'm going to concede. Because they're going to board wipe me anyway. My god. Alright, do I want to change anything? As we saw, there's not much of a point in Stubborn Denial, and Suspend isn't great because it lets them reuse their Enter the Battlefield effects. Curse Totem doesn't really do anything, Damping Sphere doesn't really do anything. Nile Spellbomb could be good against like Ren and 6, but it's not that great. So I think I'm just going to run it back how I had it. I still like Pithing Needle because they have Teferis and they have Ren and 6, and we might also be able to hit a fetch land with it. So I guess we'll see. We will take the play. We at least have that little bit of edge. This hand seems reasonable. I don't like that this is an island, but I'll keep it anyway because we could have a pretty decent Urza's Saga aggro type of hand. Play basic island, pass. Plan is to use Sojourner's Companion to get a Darksteel Citadel currently. If we draw a Citadel or another untapped land, I might change that plan. We draw Mirror Enforcer. Okay, definitely getting Darksteel Citadel with Sojourner's Companion. Play Urza's Saga. Pass the turn. Hopefully Urza's Saga does not get answered by anything like particularly quickly, because it's pretty much what we have going on with this hand. But we'll see. Ketria Triome. Opponent untaps, plays a Plains. And passes, no Spreading Seas. Always great to see. I don't even know if they have Spreading Seas, but they definitely could since they're playing 80 cards. We're going to cycle, get Darksteel Citadel. Untap. We draw Spire of Industry. Saga ticks up. Play Darksteel Citadel. How many artifacts can I get into play? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't quite play Mirror Enforcer this turn. But I can play the Frogmites. Downside is that opens me up to them using a Fury to try to keep me off of Mirror Enforcer. And it also opens me up to them using Prismatic Ending. So probably not worth it. So we will pass. I'm hoping they play fetch land go and I get to mess with their mana. Opponent plays Eladamri's Call. So yeah, if we played out our creatures, they definitely could have gotten Fury or similar. Opponent gets Knight of Autumn. That's a bit of a nightmare. Plays Knight of Autumn. Targets Urza's Saga. Yep. We'll make a boy. See if it gets Solituded or similar. We draw a Mistvault Bridge. Okay. Play Mistvault Bridge. Play Ornithopter. Play Ornithopter. Play Frogmite. Play Frogmite. Play Mirror Enforcer. And that's what we have. Hopefully it's enough somehow. Or hopefully we draw some more action. We'll see. Has a Solitude. Makes sense. They got rid of a Prismatic Ending to play that, so it means they have more removal in their hand too. Opponent has 5 cards after they draw for turn. Let's see what they have. Evokes Fury, getting rid of a Magus of the Moon. Okay. That gets both of our Frogmites, I assume. It might get Mirror Enforcer, but we'll see. If they have Ephemerate, that's really bad. They do not have Ephemerate, they get rid of our 2/2s. Makes sense. Alright, we have a 4/4, and that's all the action we have currently. We draw an Obnix. That's not bad. That is not bad. I don't like that we would have to get rid of Mirror Enforcer to play it, though. Let's see what happens when we go to combat. They let it through. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. So we play Obnixless. We get 1 on 3 and 1 on 4. We can make a blocker and start plussing one of them. That doesn't seem that bad. I think the surprise Obnixless might actually be a decent way to turn this into something decent, because they definitely have more options for artifact removal than Planeswalker removal, I think. So we'll cast with Casualty X, although it's a bit of a gamble. Two Obnixili. Obnixiluses? Obnixilusi. Plus an Obnixilus. I'm going to plus the one that has more counters on it, and I'm going to minus this one so that we have a blocker that they at least have to get rid of. It's where we don't necessarily have to chump block with an Ornithopter. Then it plays Eladamri's Call. Probably gets a Fury. Gets a Risen Reef. Okay. Risen Reef. Gets a trigger. Do they have a Fury or similar to evoke immediately? I like that if this Devil dies, I can ping and kill Risen Reef. That's kind of nice. Opponent has 2 cards in hand. I'm curious if I'm going to be able to just burn them out with Obnixilus. This one pluses because it's all it can do. I assume opponent's going to take 2. They do. Plus again. Play a Frogmite. Pass the turn. Yeah, the Devil token's actually kind of good against their current board. That's pretty funny. Hopefully we'll draw either an Urza Saga or some draw spells soon. Opponent plays Omnath. That's spooky. If they get a bunch of lands, they could pretty easily kill our Planeswalkers. I don't like that. Don't like that at all. They didn't hit a land with Risen Reef. That's good at least. They shouldn't be able to get 3 Omnath triggers this turn unless they play a fetch land from hand and then evoke an elemental for free and get a land with it. Opponent plays a land, shocks it in, goes up to 11. Plays Ephemerate on Omnom. Don't like that they have Ephemerate already. I'm curious if we're going to be able to ult this Ob Nixilis, because I'm probably going to... I don't even know. They might have low enough life total that I'll target them with it. Okay, they get rid of one with Unholy Heat. We draw. Good stuff. Cranial Plating. Interesting. We can instant speed equip that too. So that's really interesting, actually. What does that mean for us? We can't instant speed equip it and then also equip it the first time, though, is the issue. So we're still kind of boned to a Solitude if they have it. So it's basically just Cranial Plating, equip, attack in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to get +7. I mean, I guess if it hits, they're dead, right? Or at least mostly. I'm probably plussing Obnix no matter what here, so I guess I plus before I attack in, right? Opponent discards a Snow-Covered Forest. Play a Cranial Plating. Yeah, I'm going to equip to an Ornithopter, attack in, and then I'm going to be able to re-equip it, so I have another decent blocker. We're attacking for 6. I think I counted the Devil token as an artifact earlier. I might have counted Spire of Industry. I don't know. Alright, so opponent takes 6 down to 5. That does mean that if I get to ult this Ob Nixilis, they should be dead. They have an Ephemerate. They're probably going to hit Night of Autumn with that. They're going to hit Omnath. Okay. So they want the Risen Reef trigger. They could have blown up Cranial Plating. That would have been decent. I guess they're fishing for an answer for Ob Nixilis. They have Prismatic Ends that could get it pretty easy. They draw a card with Abundant Growth. They're still fishing for an answer. Things might be looking up for us. Opponent evokes a Solitude. Gets a Risen Reef trigger. Gets rid of something. They can get rid of one of our blockers so we can't ult Ob Nixilis. But we're still threatening them with our board normally, too. Opponent gains some life up to 9. Okay, we're threatening them less now. They got rid of our Devil token. They Ephemerate Solitude. Yikes. Alright. Do they get a land again? They didn't get a land with that one. We're up to 40, hilariously. They bolt our guy. Alright, they're going to be able to kill Ob Nixilis. That sucks. And we don't have much going on other than a Cranial Plating and an Ornithopter after that. So that's bad. They also have enough mana to where they can play Yorion to get rid of our one last guy and also blow up our Cranial Plating. They let the mana go away, though. That's kind of weird. Did I miscount? I don't think I did. Why are they not killing Ob Nixilis? Oh, Omnath has... Okay. Omnath got blinked. Makes more sense now. So we still have Obnix, although he's doing less. We draw a Thought Monitor. That's piece number 1, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this costs 3. Not the cheapest Thought Monitor I've ever seen, but I'll take it. Maybe we can get something here. Memnite Springleaf Drum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We know one card in their hand. We can plus Obnixilis. If they take 2, we might be able to threaten them with lethal in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess we gotta go for that, right? They could just discard a card to not take the 2, which would be completely reasonable. But if they're greedy, they took the 2. They might have a Solitude in their hand too, that would be bad, or an Ephemerate. Let's see. We gotta try to go for it, I guess. Come on. Let me get the win with an Obnixilis Affinity deck. Give it to me. Get in for 7? Do you have it? Ah, shit. We don't have a land for Beseiju. I guess I'll shuffle, but... Damn. They did have removal. Well, they've probably got it now. I guess we have a couple more draw steps at the very least, but they're going to get to Ephemerate and then play Yorion, which should be enough value that we're knocked out of the game. Especially because they could pretty easily just kill Obnixilis before they play Yorion. We have enough card draw, I guess, that we could dig ourselves out of this hole, technically. Opponent attacks us for a bunch. Gains 3 life, kills Obnixilis. We're at 37, they're at 10. I assume they're going to play Yorion here, right? They gain 4 life up to 14. We did get very close this game, so... And it was mostly on the back of Obnixilis, so I'll call it a half dub. We almost got to do the Obnixilis meme. We got very close to killing them with it twice. Bunch of triggers, yup. Removes our creatures. I assume. What are they, Knight of Autumn? We draw an Ether Spellbomb, and... I guess I can draw a card with that. And see if I get a Thoughtcast or something. We'll see. Alright, and opponent's got it. So we will play our land and concede. GG's, that was fun. And hopefully better luck in round 5. Alright, round 5, 1 and 4 going into it. Our opponent won the die roll. This hand seems fine, so we'll keep. Let's see if we can get at least half of our play points back for this one. Oh god, it's another Affinity deck. All the Affinity decks this time around, or at least all the Artifact decks. Double Urza Saga is probably going to be pretty good at least, so let's play Mistfall Bridge Go. Maybe we can meme on another Affinity player. I hope. Let's see what they have. So next turn we go Urza Saga, Shadow Spear. We can play Ornithopter, Frogmite. Not that bad. I'd like to draw something, an untapped land other than the other Urza Saga that we already have, so I can get as many constructs as possible. Hey, I found it. Sweet. Alright, they play Esper Sentinel, Springleaf Drum. It's important enough to get Shadow Spear down that I think I have to let them draw the card. Do I have to let them draw the card? Probably not. It's actually... I'll wait. I will play a Frogmite, though. I can't play both of them this way, but this still at least blocks Esper Sentinel and stops it from being able to be particularly effective on the board other than just being an artifact count for them, and maybe slowing down some of our non-creature spells. I figure since Urza Saga is going to be taking up most of our mana for the next few turns, it's not going to really matter if we have Shadow Spear in play or not. And hopefully we can just get our constructs as large as possible to contend with our opponent. Opponent plays Portable Hole on our Ornithopter. Moderately annoying. So they would have been able to hole our Shadow Spear anyway, so that doesn't matter all that much. We draw Sojourner's Companion. We're going to play Spire. We're going to pass. Not going to attack in because they can eat our attacker with their construct, since it'll be very large. And let's see if they pop off this turn. They might just make another construct, and they also might be able to play Thought Monitor. So we'll see. Pithing Needle, oh my god. They have the main deck Pithing Needle. Holy shit. Well, that shuts off our other Urza Saga. That's really bad. Alright, I'm probably just gonna concede. After I see what I draw for turn. Because I think we're just boned now. Ingenious Smith, yep. Gets a Memnite. Plays a Memnite. Yep. We draw Springleaf Drum. We'll tap Urza Saga for mana. So what? We can get an Ether Spellbomb to answer one of the constructs. That gets us up to 3 artifacts. We play Springleaf Drum, that goes up to 4. We can play Frogmite for free, go up to 5. Play Shadow Spear for 2, go up to 6. And then they just have another construct that can kill us really easily. I guess I'll wait and see. Pay for Esper Sentinel. Don't want to give them any more cards. They already have enough ahead of us that we don't want to deal with that. Play our other Urza Saga that does basically nothing now. Okay. Play Shadow Spear since we can. Play Sojourner's Companion for 1. So we're still holding up the Aether Spellbomb. Pass the turn. So we need to find some string of draw spells and or a cranial plating to go with this Shadow Spear, because otherwise we can't really come back from them having a construct in play. So let's see. Opponent gets another Esper Sentinel. Okie dokie. Grows their smiths, grows their constructs. Plays a Portable Hole. Gets our Shadow Spear, I assume? Gets our Springleaf Drum. That's a little bit weird. I guess cutting us off of mana is fine as a plan. But I think they should have gotten Shadow Spear since it actually gives us some life gain. And we're already in a very precarious position. So I think we need to chump block with this Frogmite. Because going down to 2 is a little bit too low. And then what? We do draw Cranial Plating. We don't have the mana to where we can equip it. Yeah, I'm just gonna scoop. The most reasonable thing to do is just like equip Shadow Spear, but because we don't really have anywhere that we can go from here and we're just gonna keep losing artifact count to chump blocking, there's no real way that we can turn that around in our favor. So we bring in Pithing Needle. I don't think I want to bring anything else in, since we've seen this matchup before. And I think I just cut an Expressive Iteration. We'll try it like that, I guess. Wonder what terrifying things our opponent's going to side in against us. I really don't understand why there aren't any like Hurkyl's Recall or in general artifact matchup cards in our sideboard. It does not seem correct. If anybody else that if any of my viewers has played this deck, I'm curious of how you've done with it. Because it definitely seems like the kind of deck that you could do really well at like an FNM with. But like being honest, I don't understand how this deck did so well at that Japanese tournament. It feels extremely clunky. Like Obnix has been funny. I could see Obnix as like a spicy sideboard card for Affinity decks that you could bring in against like kind of grindy matchups. But it's really hard to pay the 2 mana for Expressive Iteration, both because it costs so much colored mana, and then you also just have so much better stuff to do with your mana that progresses the board more. And then Expressive Iteration also doesn't contribute to your affinity count at all. It actually, I would argue that playing Expressive Iteration in your deck contributes negatively to your affinity count, because while it also doesn't contribute, it causes you to have to play things like Spire of Industry, which takes away from your amount of artifacts. We have 1 land, a bunch of stuff we can't cast, got a mulligan. Bunch of lands, and Urza's Saga. I'm gonna get rid of the basic island, and I'm gonna plan on land cycling the Sojourner's Companion to get a Darksteel Citadel, I think. Silver Bluff Bridge, go, since we have Expressive Iteration already. Opponent draws. What terrible things is our opponent gonna do to us? Opponent plays Seachrome Coast, Springleaf Drum. Passes. We draw Spire of Industry. Okay, we don't need to land cycle Sojourner's Companion anymore. So that's good, I guess. We'll play Urza's Saga past the turn. Opponent. Let's see if they have a turn 2 Urza's Saga also. I assume they do, since they didn't mulligan at all. They do have an Urza Saga, as predicted. They play an Ingenious Smith. They see a Darksteel Citadel. Wish we had more than just one of those in this deck. We untap. Saga ticks up, we draw another land. We play Spire of Industry. Pass the turn. So we can make a 2/2 which turns into a 3/3 and then a 4/4, turns into a 5/5 when we play a land. We can't quite play Sojourner's Companion yet. Next turn. So our plan is to play Sojourner's Companion along with Expressive Iteration the turn after next. So on turn 5. Plays a Darksteel Citadel, grows their Ingenious Smith. I assume they're going to attack in for 2 because they'd rather lose their Ingenious Smith than trade for a Construct. But we'll see, they might just use it for Springleaf Drum mana. They've definitely got options. They have a lot of stuff they can do this turn between making a Construct and also presumably playing things from their hand. Opponent attacks for 2, makes sense, not gonna block it. I would rather have my Construct. We will make our Construct. It is very small, at least relatively speaking. See what our opponent's gonna do. Alright, opponent makes their Construct, makes sense. And opponent's tapping for a white. Looks like they might have removal for our Construct. That'd be kind of obnoxious. They have like a dispatch here. Yeah, they have a dispatch. Exiles our Construct, thank you so much. We draw a Springleaf Drum. Tap, 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 make a Construct. I could get Pithing Needle for their Urza's Saga, which effectively gets rid of a Construct. Ether Spellbomb would also be basically doing the same thing, so I might as well just get Needle. We don't have any more Urza Sagas ourselves, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go with Needle. Hit their Urza Saga. Then just play a land for turn and pass. Like, I guess we attack first. We can't attack it. Never mind. Alright, pass. This is painful. Losing to Affinity Mirrors feels very bad. Opponent gets Ether Spellbomb. Can get rid of our Construct with it. I assume they're going to go ahead and do that. The game's bugging out a little bit, so I'm going to see... Okay, they play Urza Saga, my god. Not Urza Saga, they play actual Urza, never mind. If I can speak correctly. So now they have the mana to do that. They just draw... They Thought Cast. Okay, that makes sense. I like that Urza makes it where Ether Spellbomb can pay for itself. That's kind of cool. It's a neat interaction. They play Thought Monitor. My god, my opponent's popping off. Another Thought Monitor attacks for 8. I'll take it. Why not? And I guess I'm going to Expressive Iteration and decide whether or not I want to concede. Because they can get rid of a blocker on our end. And I don't really think that I can even play the Sojourner's Companion. Yeah, they get rid of our Construct rather with their Aether Spellbomb. We draw a Spire of Industry. I'll cast Expressive Iteration. Midnight Thoughtcast, Sojourner's Companion. Thoughtcast into hand. Companion on the bottom. Exile Midnight. Cast Midnight. Play a Thoughtcast. I can't tap Memnite because I would have to chump block. Frogmite. Spire of Industry. Springleaf Drum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can play Thought Monitor. Yeah, like, even in this build, like, other than the couple of times that I was able to just play an immediately ultimate Obnixilis, it just feels best when I'm doing the thing that Mono Blue Affinity can already do by itself. So it feels silly that I'm even splashing so heavily into other colors. So I guess consider this video a reason why not to play this build. We have blockers now, I guess, so that's good. Opponent has 7 cards in hand and an Urza and a giant board that we have to chump block because we're at 9. So I'm prepared to die here. I'll let them at least kill me. Opponent plays Thoughtcast with their Darksteel Citadel, spicy. It's like a Seed of the Synod with Indestructible. That's so good. The game's gonna bug out a little bit while they do a bunch of stuff. Opponent plays an Ingenious Smith, gets an Esper Sentinel. Plays an Urza's Saga, holy fuck. Opponent has all the action. I guess they can't make constructs with it at least, so that's something. They have a portable hole for the needle though, that's pretty funny. Yeah, they're just gonna get rid of our blockers instead. Yup. Opponent plays their own Pithing Needle, naming. The spicy pick is you are already dead. That's the pick you should pick. Opponent names Shadow Spear just to make sure we can't gain life somehow. And attacks us with everything including Urza. It looks like. Does not attack with Urza. Just attacks with the constructs. I'm just going to let it through anyway, because I don't really have a reasonable chance of survival from here. I will let it through and take my lethal. GG's to our opponent. The game's going to bug out, and opponent wins. Okay. GG's. Alright. So I'm going to pull up the deck again. So Grixis Affinity. Am I glad I played this deck? Yes. I was able to have some very fun turns. Would I ever play this in a serious form again, be it at a tournament or in a league? In a league, maybe, since it's kind of like low opportunity cost, but if I ever went to a tournament with this, I've probably taken up crack or something. I can't imagine trying to be lucky enough to actually just go through a tournament with this. Although what I will say is if you're playing Mono Blue Affinity already, and you basically keep the normal 60, because you can already make some red and black mana, especially with Springleaf Drum and Treasure Vault. It could be a spicy pick to just slam like 1 or 2 copies of Obnix in your sideboard. I think that would be at least kind of funny and might get you some games against like random mid-range or shadow or whatever opponents. Expressive Iteration, costing 2 mana is just way too much. If you want something similar to it, like Expressive Iteration is always going to cost you 2 mana and it gets you 2 out of the 3 cards. We're already not playing a card that has... I forget what the name of the card is. I think it's Reverse Engineer. I'm going to check it out here. There's just a 2 mana draw 3 that has like Improvise for 3 or something like that, so super achievable to do. Is that how you spell engineer? I don't even know. Reverse N. Oh, there's an E. What am I talking about? I can't spell apparently. But like Reverse Engineer is probably just better than Expressive Iteration in like any Affinity deck if you actually have artifacts in play that you can tap for it. Other than that, like there's the one out of Kamigawa that still doesn't see any play, that is essentially 2 mana, look at 7 cards and pick 2. Like, why would you play Expressive Iteration? It kind of baffles me. Suspend seems fine, depending on like what the meta is. Stubborn Denial does not seem right for the current modern meta. There's just way too much in the form of like solitudes and furies and creatures that matter and actually interact meaningfully with you. Like control decks, a lot of the removal that control decks are playing is in creature form, at least on the stack. And then Suspend is kind of spicy. It'd be interesting. I'd be interested to see how often, if you play this in your sideboard, you wind up doing something like you save your Thought Monitor and then a couple turns down the line get to draw a couple extra cards with it, because that would make me like Suspend more. But as it stands, I don't like it very much. They basically have the normal Affinity sideboard. I don't really understand why we're playing Soul Guide Lantern over Relic, because you don't care about your graveyard in any way with this deck. There's no form of Graveyard Matters thing. So other than the ETB targeted Exile, which I guess is good against like specifically like the Archon Reanimator decks, I think Relic is just better in this slot. Nile Spellbomb's still fine. Relic is still probably just better because it doesn't target and it does the same thing, and we don't care about our graveyard as previously stated. Let me know what you think of the deck. If you already have Affinity and you have like a Card Hoarder loan account, or you just happen to have the copies of Obnix list you need anyway, it might be fun to try it out, either in paper or in Moto. But yeah, let me know what you think. If there's something you want to see in the future, a different deck maybe, something budget maybe. I haven't done a budget deck in a while, let me know. And I'll see you then.
Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Well, basically, go subscribe to Tez's YouTube channel. And for those who made it to the end of the video, thank you.